My name is Carol Voiles. It is November the 20th, 2022. I was invited to join a Qigong group led by Paul Sullivan by some of my friends who row with me at River City Rowing Club. When I got there, I saw Inga, who rows with us sometimes, with her elderly mother, Doris. And Doris was sitting in a chair, as you'll soon see, and Inga was sitting in front of her, helping her to perform the Qigong movements. I have had a number of elderly relatives who lived to be a very old age. My mother almost to 100, missed it by 6 months. And those relatives have all had some degree of dementia in those very late years of their life. And I found it frustrating and difficult to find a way to communicate with them or to find an activity that we could share. So to see Inga doing this delightful activity with her mother outside, where I could see that both of them had a lot of joy on their faces and there was playfulness in doing this. And I thought, this is something that I wish I'd been aware of and thought of doing. I maybe wouldn't have thought of Qigong, having not been introduced to it before, but there were certainly other types of bodily movements, maybe dancing with hands or some forms of yoga or, I don't know. But it just didn't occur to me to do a non-verbal physical activity with my elderly relatives who were struggling to participate in anything. So seeing this with Inga and her mother, I wanted to share it with other people, thinking it might be of value to them. So this is my very casually produced video that I hope you will enjoy and maybe spread the word or experience it yourself with somebody you love who can't fully participate in other activities. Thank you. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
This is Paul O'Sullivan, the Qigong leader, and I'm talking to you this morning about your guidance for Inga and her mother, Doris. And Doris, as you know, has advanced Alzheimer's, and yet she and her daughter are able to share in the experience of Qigong. Could you say a little bit about what Qigong is for people who aren't familiar with it, and then how it relates to the two of these wonderful women?
Qigong is an ancient healing art form that is a standing meditation which produces a relaxed healing of the body, mind and spirit. I've been teaching Qigong for a long time, and Inga became a student of mine, and one day she said, could I try teaching her mother, who has advanced Alzheimer's? So I said, let's give it a try. And we organized teachings in a beautiful park in Sacramento, and Inga and her mother have a lot of friends. They've lived in the same house for over 50 years. And so suddenly I found I was teaching 15 people with Doris and all her friends, with Doris at the center of that. And although Doris has advanced Alzheimer's, she was able to follow along with the help of Inga, her daughter. And what came about was an exceptionally close relationship between mother and daughter as Inga became her teacher in this group of people that were all practicing together.
Invited me.
Oh.
Who are you? Who are you? Introduce yourself to all the
Yeah.
people.
Doris.
Can you say your name?
Hello, Doris.
Oh, tell them first.
You really like to read that, don't you?
did, and they overfirmed them for years.
Yeah.
Remember real,
Did you know him in Berkeley?
that
I think so.
we
yes.
was
She
been.
said she's known him for years.
I think she's known me.
Introduce yourself, maybe just say a little bit about how you came to practice Qigong, and then how it was that you introduced it to your mom.
Okay. Yeah. My name is Inga Olson, and my rowing group sponsored a Qigong class with Paul O'Sullivan, and I started going, and it was down at the port, and I really liked it, and I think it helped to reinforce my acupuncture work that I did with Dr. Fan here in Sacramento.
And can you say how old your mom is?
My mom's going to be 96 in about a week.
And her full name?
Her name is Doris Olson.
And tell us a little bit about your mom before she had dementia. What did she do for a living, and kind of what was her personality like?
Yeah, she was, when we were kids, she went back to college and got a teaching credential, and she started teaching, and then educationally handicapped, that field was developed, and she went into that, and then she started teaching. She was a resource specialist teaching educationally handicapped teachers, and then she was involved in the master plan to integrate disabled kids into the classroom, the regular classroom.
A profession that requires a lot of kindness and patience.
Yeah, and then she was an administrator for the school district, and she taught some classes part-time at Sac State because of her experience. And she was a traveler. She liked to travel. While she was going to Sac State, she applied for a Fulbright fellowship, and so she went to India for 6 weeks. And then actually, because of the project, she worked on down in the San Joaquin Valley. They invited her to come back again, so she went back again. So that started her travel, career, after she retired.
Wow. An interesting life. And how many children in your family?
I have a brother and 2 younger sisters.
Uh-huh. And so she was having some issues that you thought that Qigong might help her with. And she has some pretty significant dementia. So that seems like an interesting idea that I don't think would occur to most people. Can you say a little bit about that?
I've always pretty much done everything with her, like we always travel, and we go to family reunions, and I just take her places, and she does really well, and so it's a little bit more difficult lately because she's in a wheelchair, so I have to go places where she can move in the wheelchair. But it's like when I take her places, I don't know how she'll do, but it always goes really well, like Qigong. So I just continue doing things that seem to go well, and they just, she really is social. She really likes people. She really likes going places. So generally it seems to work out.
And how does she communicate to you her pleasure in going places? Because she really can't be very articulate or expressive in a verbal way. How is it that you know that she enjoys going out into the world with you?
She's becoming more expressive. We have a caretaker who communicates really good with her. So she has a friend. She's had a friend for 77 years, and her and her son just came to visit, and her son was saying, Doris speaks so much clearer. So either she'll express something, or she just is delighted, her expressions. And even though she might, sometimes she says, for wonderful, she says wonder, or for thank you, she says thank.
Yeah.
So you kind of, you kind of know when you've been around her what she's saying.
She has some
and
words.
If she is unhappy with something, you absolutely know that. She's pretty expressive.
Right. So how do you think the Qigong has been of value to the two of you?
It's so peaceful when we do it together. My model for my hands are her hands. Her hands remind me of leaves just floating in the air. And so when I'm thinking about how to do a posture, in Qigong, that's my model. And then also just eye contact. It's we just relate, and it seems like it's helpful for me to sit in front of her. Sometimes she really likes to follow Paul, the leader, but it seems like oftentimes it's helpful to her to have somebody right in front of her, and maybe me, so that she can follow.
She seems to mirror you when I watch, almost like she's looking in a mirror.
Yeah, she went to school, and her teacher said that she's more able to follow, like they would play catch, and she's very competitive, but she is able to play catch or do exercises and follow somebody, whereas many people they see it being done and they can't replicate it. So I think that helps. But actually she did Tai Chi in a chair for probably 1 or 2 years. We had my Tai Chi teacher when she died, I got her chair Tai Chi video, and I started doing it with her, and then Astrid, this one woman who I paid to help me take care of my mom, they did it every day. So I think that kind of broke her into it, and she really enjoys it. She likes doing it. She would even do it all by herself in front of the TV.
So the other thing I'd like to ask you is that you seem to have an unlimited amount of kindness and patience with your mother, and I like a lot of people I've known, become, struggle to be that way with the elderly who they can no longer communicate easily with, or who are, a burden, quite frankly, in terms of their needs. And so it's interesting here that you and your mother, it sounds like, have had a friendship in addition to your mother-daughter relationship. But is there any words of wisdom that you might pass on to those of us who are less gifted with your patience and kindness?
I'd say do Qigong or do a Chinese practice, because, when you're in that state, you are patient and you are receptive, and you're not trying to, dictate things. And so probably when you see me, then you see me in that space. But if you saw me other times, like I always say, using fuck is my escape valve, because it makes me feel so much better, when I have a lot of energy to just say it, and then it kind of dissipates like going up a chimney. And so you would see me do all the things that you're probably talking about you wish you didn't do. I do all those things.
Oh, good to know. In some ways.
Yeah, and I, it's just like, I just feel like I'm not terribly worried about it, because I think as I've lived with my mom the last 10 years, we're more authentic with each other, and so a lot of stuff in the past has kind of dropped away, and so we know, we get mad at each other, but we also know that we love each other, and it's just all part of the, ball of wax, so it's like you would see me do anything,
Good.
And,
It's somewhat reassuring, although you are still inspiring to me, which is why I wanted to make this video. Well, thank you, for your time and your generosity in sharing this personal part of your life with us.
well, thank you so much, Carol. I really appreciate what you've done and your interest.
Thank you. Bye-bye.